Hi, this is Michael Adams for CEORoaster and Stock Telegraph, and I'm following up with a company that I already presented to you. I think that was in December last year, and we're talking to Explorex Resources Inc., trading on the Canadian Stock Exchange as EX, and also in the German markets. The symbol in Germany is 1XE. And the German WKN number is A2H5T7. And so it's my pleasure to have back on the stage, I would guess, Gary Schellenberg, he's the CEO, and Mike Sieb, he's president of the company. And if you want to get the presentation that we're showing here and get some more detailed information, check out the website, which is explorex.ca. So, guys, thanks for taking the time to talk to me again. There have been a couple of news in the last 3 to 4 months, that I did not or only partially covered on my outlets. So it's a great chance for me to get up to speed. And especially the latest news, you acquired a new project in Finland by the name of Hautalampi. And that's of course, especially what is of my interest. So right now, thank you very much for joining me. And just start. Gary, you would like to start?
Sure. Thanks for having us again, Michael. As you recall from the last time we had a chance to talk about the company, we were looking and amassing a portfolio of good Cobalt projects and basically all e-metal projects, and we've been working diligently to source these projects. As you know, that there's very few advanced Cobalt projects around the world, and we've been fortunate enough here with the Hautalampi that we were able to identify it early, and now we're in the advanced stages of our due diligence on the acquisition. It's a great project. It's one that we believe we can bring on stream within the next 3 years, and be a real leader in the new Cobalt production that we're really seeing. There's maybe 2 or 3 other potential mines to come on stream in the world within that time frame. So we think we're well positioned here to meet the demand and reap the benefits for our shareholders. And the Hautalampi project, it's development stage. I guess that's the best way of putting it. It actually had a feasibility study done in 2009, done by another junior company, and of course the metal markets fell out of bed in 2000. We all knew what happened then, and they never did follow through with it. And Mike has been intimately involved with the project in its due diligence, and maybe Mike can give a little bit more flavor to the project at this point.
Thanks, Gary. Yes, the Hautalampi deposit is in one of the most renowned historic mining districts in the world. It's the old Ocampo Main in southeastern Finland. That was originally discovered in 1911, and it produced for a phenomenal 89 years. The original Caretti ore body was 4 kilometers in length and predominantly silver. You can see here in the old photo the old workings in the front, and then the Caretti shaft, which is the center point feature of our property in the distance.
Okay.
This is an ongoing operation or operational area. You can see the Kilati, the mine to the northeast of the Ocampo town site, and the Lukanlahti mill to the northwest. These are ongoing operations that has basically produced an excellent infrastructure and an industrial center that has built up pretty much over the last 100 years. So this is the area that we're walking into, a well-known, well-accepted mining jurisdiction. And kind of taking a look, you can see in the bottom, about 200 meters below surface, was the old Caretti ore body. And this ore body extended for 4 kilometers, and the Hautalampi deposit is a satellite deposit to the main Caretti ore body. This was discovered and drilled probably greater than 200 drill holes have been drilled into the Hautalampi deposit over quite a number of years and operators, with some real significant development associated with it.
Let me
It
ask
has
you
a
a
really
question,
good...
Mike. So,
Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
Mike. So, go one slide back. So the Carretti mine was a strictly copper producer, right? But I think what we are looking for is it's copper, nickel, and cobalt. Or am I fooled?
The Carretti mine had a copper grade of about 3.8%, but what a lot of people don't know is it also had a really significant cobalt signature associated with it as well. The cobalt grade at the Carretti mine was 0.24% cobalt, which is a very high grade in relationship to a cobalt deposit associated with base metals, and it was not the priority. So the cobalt was not predominantly recovered. The copper was the focus. And that's, this area here has a very, very strong cobalt signature to it that has not been capitalized upon, and that's what we're intending to do.
Okay, thanks.
So, as Gary stated, there has been significant work performed on the Hautalampi deposit. There was multiple drilling campaigns, a resource, a historical resource, as a historical resource as defined by NI 43-101 standards, and just kind of a very quick caveat, we at Explorex have not verified the resource. We have sufficient work on it, but we do believe that the historical work was 100% credible and completely valid to our purpose. So you can see here what the combined measured and indicated resource for the Hautalampi deposit is. It's 2.25 million tons, grading 0.44% nickel, 0.38% copper, and 0.12% cobalt.
One thing I may add as well is the old Carretti mine, which is, as we were showing, located about 200 meters below that Lumpy. It still has about 1 million tons of a resource left there within its pillars. So again, at some point in the future, you know, there may be an opportunity to actually capitalize on that, and in addition to a number of other blue sky opportunities within this project.
Let me ask another question. So, because there was already active mining, so how is the infrastructure around this project?
Go ahead, Mike.
It's not very often you walk into a project that has this degree of infrastructure, from basically the surface support, industrial complexes surrounding the mining operations, to the actual development, or I should say pre-development, that was performed directly on the Hautalampi deposit. There is approximately 2.1 kilometers of underground development consisting of an 850-meter decline and initial stoping that basically opened up the deposit for commercial production at that point in time. There was originally a 10,000-ton bulk sample that was already taken from the Hautalampi deposit. So when we're walking into this area, we have a decline basically all the way down to the deposit, plus initial stoping development. So compared to other potential cobalt deposits around the world, this degree of development and advanced stage of delineation, you really can't find anywhere else.
Okay. In addition to that, we do have the access to a mill facility about 30 kilometers or 40 kilometers away from site here. So there has been some initial discussions on potentially toll milling the ore there, again greatly reducing the capex of this potential mine here. And I think that's really the key here, and the opportunity that's before us is we're not having to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to put the underground workings in place and or the a mill facility in place. This is pretty much as turnkey as you're going to get here, with obviously some confirmation and an update of the feasibility study.
Okay.
Yeah. So just taking those characteristics into account, I mean, you'd be sold as is. But then there's also the blue sky potential. And there was significant drilling that delineated mineralization along trend for a 2.5 kilometer long corridor to the east of the deposit. So not only do we have all those attributes that we've already mentioned so far, there's also the significant potential to bring additional tons into the resource and the potential mine plan, a 2.5 kilometer long corridor.
And that's really, this is the lumpy deposit here, and then the other colors here are all the blue sky potentials. There's six known target areas already within that 2.5 kilometer corridor. So again, a very significant potential to increase the resource and extend the potential mine life here.
Okay, let me ask you a question. In our last interview, we talked about, and then you told us that one of your big partners is Ganfeng, right? Which is a very valuable partner to have. Was this project is this kind of going in the Ganfeng joint venture basket, or is this like a separate project, or how are you going to handle it moving forward?
Well, I think with our Ganfeng being a significant shareholder, obviously we would like to work with them on the development and have and then they have initially indicated to us they would definitely be very supportive of this project here. What we're looking at doing here is obviously taking this thing through to feasibility. We would anticipate that Ganfeng would assist us in further equity placements to allow us to get that in place. Obviously, it is their goal to be fully vertically integrated within not only lithium but also other e-metals such as cobalt. So I would anticipate their involvement in the development of this project is very highly likely as we move forward. The terms of their involvement at this point, you know, our agreement with them is that they have the first right to essentially negotiate an offtake agreement on any production that we have from any of our projects, and that's not at a discount. That's a straight negotiated offtake, at prevailing market prices.
Okay, great, thanks.
And so just quickly touching upon this slide, just to illustrate what the degree of development that's in place. You can see where the Karate shaft and tower is. The shaft is valid to below the deposit, and you can see the 850 meter decline that accesses the deposit with also some underground stoping. There's also an existing ventilation shaft in place. So the other aspect is that the current operators, or I should say the vendors, have worked quite diligently over the last couple of years to fully in place the mining concessions, as well as environmental water and discharge permit. So you can see in the schematic here what the intent is to utilize the existing Karate shaft to dewater the working area, and then also enter into the decline and clear it out to re-access the deposit. So all this development is in place for us to utilize. It's actually quite phenomenal.
Okay.
And just another image of what the 2009 feasibility study by Finn Nickel outlined as part of their development plan for the deposit. So this just kind of in a very quick summary, the deposit has been fairly validated. It is credible. We will be working over the next year to complete the transaction, as well as then inject $2.5 million into the operation to basically bring the historic feasibility to current NI 43-101 standards. And so we're looking at, within a 12-month period, to have a completely redone feasibility and outline deposit, as well as delineate some of the blue sky potential.
Gary, Mike just mentioned that it will take some time to complete the transaction. So what are the parameters and what needs to be completed?
Well, at this point in time, we have engineering due diligence being conducted as we speak. They will confirm they'll confirm the historic numbers and do the legal due diligence. We anticipate closing this transaction here in June or July of this year. Then at that point, we will embark on a drill program to see if, in fact, that'll be confirmation drilling, which will be required for an updating our feasibility, but also to look at some of the upside potential and some of these other targets. And I think that would be a key thing to embark on. One of the things which we haven't mentioned here is that this deposit, the way it lies, is much different than some of these other cobalt projects you're hearing about out there that are extremely high grade, but they're also very narrow. This is a very large deposit, underground deposit. It's amenable to bulk underground mining, which again lowers the cost tremendously, and again very little waste. This deposit's anywhere between 1 and 30 meters thick. It's 150 to 250 meters wide. It's well over a kilometer in length at this point, and potentially longer. So these are the things that really make this a very, very economic, or potentially economic, mining situation for us. Unlike some of these very small, narrow, high-grade mines where it takes a lot to get any kind of tonnage, but also you have a lot of waste that's involved as well. So that's one of the things that, again, we'll be fine-tuning here on our updated feasibility. Will be, of course, the cost of mining and economic potential as we conclude our feasibility. But so that's kind of where we're looking at for the next year. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, and just one additional comment. The deposit on average is only 100 meters below surface, so it is shallow. Part of the extent of it actually skies out, so that will also be very beneficial in regards to the economics of the ore body, because there's a pre-existing decline to it, as well as it's so shallow. So it's going to be highly amenable to an economic solution.
Okay.
So, and then just back to your original question, what needs to be done to close this thing? Once we conclude our due diligence, we have an option to either buy out a 91% interest outright, or embark on a 3-year option, and those terms will be finalized and of course announced upon our closing here in the next couple of months.
Okay.
One of the things that we're looking to do in the meantime is advance the Brook Cobalt project in New Brunswick. We identified this as a fairly exciting yet undrilled target early on, and I think one of the things that Mike has done a lot of work on with our team is been able to identify these very good quality projects, and the Cougar project is one of the ones that we would like to advance along as well, and hopefully get a drill project on it early on this spring. And Mike, if you want to give a little more detail on where we're at and what makes it so exciting.
Well, it's the size potential, and that's one of the parameters that we're looking for. Again, we're not looking for small, necessarily high grade tonnage, but we're looking for something that has some real meat on the bones. And the Cougar Brook property has that potential. It's part of the Bathurst mining camp, which is also another well-known mining camp in the world that does produce some sizable deposits. It's not necessarily known for cobalt, but there is some cobalt signatures within the camp, and the Cougar Brook probably has one of the highest cobalt mineralizing signatures. This property has not ever been drilled before, but has had some significant looks to it from past operators. And it's extremely intriguing because of the grades that are found in the streams. So if you can look here on this map, there's these two creeks are 2.5 kilometers apart. Each of those sample dots represent about 100-meter distance between the samples. And the grades that you find in the shovelfuls of silt at the base of those creeks is greater than the Hautalampi deposit has. You're looking at grades up to 0.6% cobalt, which is just unbelievable for how high those grades are, and that's simply from the silt that's found in the creeks. And what it's trying to indicate is that cobalt just doesn't come from anywhere. It's a bullseye target. There's very little cobalt signature around it, and then all of a sudden you come here to these two creeks, and it's just, you know, like a wow. What we're contemplating is that the mineralization that we see in the creeks represents what is just hidden underneath the till in this very spot. And there has been significant previous work done on the property to basically tee it up for a drill program. There's been multiple campaigns of geophysics that have delineated a conductive zone with it, which is a similar signature to kind of a massive sulfide. It is also perfectly in alignment. This is a mag survey. It's perfectly in alignment with the stratigraphy that you see there, which is also very similar to what you find in the Bathurst mining camp for very kind of horizontal beds of sulfides. And then one of the most refined sort of like geophysical tools that you can use is an induced polarization survey, which basically will delineate the really high conductive drill targets. And also coincident with the anomalies in the creek and the mag are very low resistivity, which is kind of high conductivity drill targets. So there's all this preliminary work that has been done on this extremely intriguing target that has the potential for high tonnage, and it's never been drilled before. So this is something that could be a huge win for the company at a very low entry cost. So it really fits what we're trying to do in Explorex, is to try and look for those projects out there that can really provide some impetus to the company and actually have some real meat on the bones at the end of the day.
Okay.
So, like I say, our main focus will be moving forward. Will be these two projects, the Hautalampi and the Cougar, in the immediate future. Our projects in Ontario, we'll continue on working on those as well. But again, our priority is for obvious reasons, take the projects that have the biggest potential, and let's focus in on those in the meantime. We're also continuing on, what's next for us is we're continuing on to identify and source other e-metal opportunities around the world, and that won't stop. We've been given a mandate by our significant shareholders to essentially find good developable, projects that can be developed, again, to supply the world's, demand for these commodities. So we're in a unique situation, having the support of a very large lithium manufacturer, and now a battery manufacturer in China. That gives us a bit of a leg up, especially on a financial side, but also on a technical side, and what is really required and where the market's really going. And so I think that's what really differentiates Explorex from a lot of the other companies out there.
I think that Fang is a good team with you, because you are the kind of their project scout. That's how I would call it, right? So,
Yeah,
they give you like a wallet of cash, yeah, and send you all around the world. Besides the DRC, probably not the DRC,
yeah.
but all around the world to scout for the best projects. Yeah, bring them to the table, and if they like it, then you can team up with them. And if not, but you still like it, you can still get your hands on it, like you did with some of the other projects, right? Kind of creating a project bank and maybe looking for joint venture partners outside of Gangfang later on down the road. So I think that's a great approach. Yeah. And it sounds like you will have a lot of fun, and also the shareholders should have a lot of fun, because remember, you only have like what is the share structure? It's only like
There's 16 million
shares.
Yeah, 16.
So,
yeah, it's very, very good share structure. Obviously, there will be some dilution along the way to develop these projects, but we're definitely off to a really good start. And with 16 million out, 21 fully diluted, we've got a long ways to go here. And I think the shareholders will definitely benefit from our share capital at least.
Yeah, and look at the share price here. You just brought that up. Yeah, like mining over the last little month or a couple of months, yeah, has been in a decline. Like overall, I'm not sure about the Cobalt shares, but like if you look at gold, silver, copper, yeah, they're all going down. And you're holding kind of the last weeks, you're actually up from 30 cents to like 40, right? So that's 30% gain, and even compared to November, yeah. So you're kind of flat. So that's all looks good to me, yeah, but. Again, I'm biased, of course, and I know those guys for quite some time. So I can only urge my viewers and listeners and readers to start their own due diligence. Yeah, and I will link around this video. I will also link the presentation, and I will put a link to the interview that we did in December. Yeah, where you get like an overview on the other projects. And yeah, so I think you're looking into some excitement over the next little while, as you indicated. Yeah, there will be some developments. There will be some news releases. Yeah, which are kind of the flesh to the bone for the shareholders. And yeah, thank you very much. I think the final words is yours. Yeah, just maybe to wrap it up.
Well, thanks again, Michael. It's always a good opportunity to have a venue to tell our story. We're very excited on the opportunities that we have before us. The new acquisition is really catapulting us into the main stage, essentially, as far as cobalt producers go, and we look forward to that transition from an exploration company to a mining company, and of course with our major shareholders' help. And I think our portfolio of projects will continue to grow, and I look forward to giving you another update. Hopefully within the next couple of months.
That sounds great, and I'm really curious what kind of country you're going to discover for the next project, because that means you have to learn another language, because you're fantastic in pronouncing all these strange Finnish names, right? So let's wait and see what you're coming up for. Right now, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.